And welcome back, everybody. My name is Miguel Valenzuela. You're watching Creative Thinkers, and as always, we bring you a special guest. But today, there's a little twist, actually a drinking twist. We have Gus from Old Sheepdog Brewery joining us today. He's going to tell us everything about his place and how he grew up. Hey, Gus, welcome.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Great, great, actually. I'm excited because you have something that we actually haven't done on this show. I know creativity is associated with all kinds of things, but this one's, I think, at a different level. You know, one of the very first things that we always talk about on this show is, you know, where are you from? Did you grow up here? Or you come from a different city? Because creativity is everywhere, right?
Right.
Yeah, where are you from exactly?
Well, I was born in El Paso, but I grew up in Juarez.
Okay.
So my first 23 years of my life, I was living in Juarez, and I fell in love and moved here because she didn't want to
move back to El Paso.
move to El Paso, yeah, because she didn't want to move to Juarez with me. So she's like, no, if you want to be with me, you got to be over here where I live. So
I think that's a smart move, right? Smart
right?
thing to
Yes.
do. So being here in El Paso and having that kind of contrast going over the bridge and being in another city, because one of the things that you mentioned before was you came to a different school here in El Paso,
Right.
living in Juarez. How did that affect you as a child when you were young?
Well, with us, I mean, like me, I never saw it that it was. I always just thought that was normal, right? The crossing back and forth, and I guess that makes me look at Juarez, El Paso as only just one big, huge city. But it was interesting. I mean, we had to wake up a little bit earlier than maybe other kids that would have to go to school,
Right.
and then have to cross over. Either sometimes my dad would bring me over, or I would walk over the bridge. Especially like in high school, I would constantly just walk in myself through.
But when you were walking, were there any types of elements that influence what you're doing today, like seeing the contrast between the two, even though you saw them as one city? I just happened to go over day before yesterday to Juarez, and you can actually see a huge difference between economically speaking, the way the people are and what they do on a day-to-day basis. How did that affect you?
Well, it affected me in the way, I guess in a positive way, of actually, I always looked at like, while I was crossing over and you see all these people like selling the chicles, selling, you know, and it kind of made me grow a good love towards people in general, and how no matter, I always, and this is like how I tell my kids, you know, never feel above other people, but always don't feel less than. Treat everybody equally.
Right.
And that's kind of like how, I think that's the big part of me crossing over constantly, seeing that and getting to talk to people in the bridge, because I would do it all the time. Talk to people on the bridge and kind of making me seem that we were all the same here for the same reasons, right? We're all here trying to make something and
make something of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is important because you having gone to Christian school, I believe.
It's a Methodist school, yes.
Methodist school. How does that get into one's psyche, and how does that help propel somebody into what they do? Because I know that I went to a Catholic school, and it was a private school, very Catholic, focused a lot on religion. But I felt like as soon as I got out, I'm like, I need to get out of here now. Like, I'm ready to go out and like really see the world. Not that they kept me from seeing the world, but it was something that I guess propelled me to do that. How did you feel?
I think I felt the same way. I think when you're constant, because elementary, middle school was a Catholic school, and then they sent me to a Methodist school. And the main reason why they did that, it was just because my dad always said, I don't want you to have any issues when you're crossing over. So you can't go to a public school. So that's why you went to these private schools.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, my dad's real straight, and he's like, we don't want any issues, even though he would pay taxes and all. But that's something else, right?
Right.
But with me, when I graduated, I felt like, yeah, you do feel a little trapped and you know, sheltered within that environment of religion and all that. And so when I got out, first thing that you ever do is I went and did a metal band, right? So,
wow. That's the first thing I did.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I did a metal band, and you know, that's how I was expressing myself and all that I guess, being inside always held back because of schooling. Even though I had good times, right, in school, but it was just expressing.
You wanted to
myself,
get
yeah.
out and just do, right?
Do something.
Not that they keep you from doing, but if you kind of have that feel of being a little isolated, and once you get out, you're able to do more things. That's the way I felt. So did that kind of lead you into what you're doing? Because you did something else when you graduated from college, right? When you, after school, you were a counselor.
Yes. So
Yeah,
I was.
so how did that go?
I was a school advisor. That was my original plan was I was going to be a firefighter. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So, I went through the program of EPCC's program and graduated, was waiting to, did the test, got certified, was waiting to be called, and then I got a call from a friend, how you get jobs right here in this town, who
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
he's like, hey man, there's this position open with your education and your background with the firefighter, it'll be good to kind of like start, working here, and I started working at this college and I was just advising for career advising for nursing students. That's what I was doing. And then I was kind of like, when I was doing that, I did that for 10 years. On the side, I was brewing, and I was just doing that in the garage, in the kitchen, and
Getting in your wife's way?
my wife's way. Yeah, it started in the
can
kitchen,
imagine.
and then she kicked me out to the garage. But I got to give her credit. She was always involved. And
Cool.
To this day, she kind of tells me, I kind of miss those days where you would brew, and then I would go in there and clean because you would leave a big mess and all that. So that was pretty neat. And she is a big reason why we're doing this, a big cause of why we're at and all that.
Yeah, because she is co-owner of the brewery, right?
Yes.
Which is interesting to have somebody so close to you be part of what you're doing.
Right.
It's an amazing thing to have to grow in that way together.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little hard, and
I can imagine.
You gotta know
Yeah.
where to separate. When are you partners and when are you married, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So there's that constant of us needing to learn that way because we had never worked together.
Yeah, and I can imagine. And then coming from a more 9-to-5 type
Right.
of job, how does one transition into this? Like, how did you ever start selling one beer?
Right. Especially because I was never in the industry. I never bartended. I never did anything like that. So
Right.
it was interesting those first months that first month because and then we closed, right? So
Right.
So that
Oh, you're talking COVID.
COVID.
Oh my gosh, that's right. That's a whole other story, right?
So we it was interesting to know. I was applying a lot of obviously, I was a school advisor, so I'm used to talking to people. So I was applying that to the bartending, to be able to sell that to people. So it was neat. It was a good experience, but it was a very, very scary, stressful experience to get started from a totally different area that we're used to doing this.
How important was it for you to be able to say, I'm going to have a goal and I'm going to try to reach that goal? Because you did have some issues with COVID, and we'll talk about that. But how important was it for you to set goals as far as what you were going to be doing? Because I can see that the cans themselves are very creative, and the interior of your place is absolutely creative. So how important was it for you to set goals?
It is very important. We still set goals right now. I mean, we were like, okay, by this time we need to be open. By this time we need to be able to already start putting our brand out. And our goal period as far as so like I was saying, I mean, it is important for us to set goals because we're treating our business the same way that we would treat like when we were working in that 8-to-5 job that you're saying. So every time I do set a goal, like, okay, we need to have this beer by this time because it's going to be for a special date or a special foundation, a special community event that we're having. So our goals are always. I mean, that's how we live. We live on goals, like always looking forward to.
Yeah, you always have to focus ahead of time. So you're talking about a foundation and certain things that you do. So you brew beer.
Yeah.
You actually bottle this or can this on
Yes.
site, which for me is amazing. I've
Right.
never seen that before. I've
Yeah.
seen those machines that make, a million at a time,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Budweiser or whatever, but I've never seen that before. But one of the things that you do is you kind of back people up. Explain to us and tell us a little bit about the can that's in the pink.
Right. So this particular can, we brewed it for the month of March, for the Women's Month. But we wanted to take it a little bit further than that, than just saying, oh, okay, this is for women and all that. We wanted to actually help. We partnered up with the artist Alex Arriaga, and that's his design. And he's donating a portion, 100% of the proceeds of his painting that he has at the brewery, that people could go, and he's doing like a little raffle, and then we are donating proceeds of this beer to the women's shelter, to women that have been sexually abused or being in domestic violence.
Very interesting. I see a lot of creativity all over your place. I mentioned it a moment ago. The show's called Creative Thinkers.
Yeah.
How important is creativity within your world?
Extremely.
Tell us.
Extremely creative. I mean, one, we got to be very creative as far as to push ourselves out, be a little different than the other breweries locally, so people could see that. So how do we do it? We partner up with a lot of interesting creative people. I mean, we have the art gallery right in front of us, which is owned by Tino Ortega. We have the glass blowers above us, which is, one of them is Alex Arriaga, and then we have another business, another retail business. So there's a lot of creative thinking, and we don't sit down and have meetings, but when we're just talking, a lot of ideas start popping up, and it's pretty neat. And I always saw myself like, I was surrounded by art with music and all that, but I didn't see myself as creative until one person, my wife told me, said, you are an artist. You are creating these, unique recipes, these, so now I do see how the beer could be very, very artsy, very creative in the way.
It absolutely is 100%, and that's one of the reasons why this show came to existence. Just the concept behind how a lot of people don't think that they are creative. What was keeping you from feeling creative, though?
I guess.
Just your look alone shows me that you're creative, but you in your mind were not thinking that. What do you think was keeping you?
I think when a lot of, at least in what I was thinking, is that, okay, you're creative when you are drawing something, when you're, in the music, I was doing music, but I wasn't playing. I was just singing. So it's kind of like I didn't feel that what I was doing was being something creative. And
do you think that's a mindset that was instilled in you at some point? Like, did you have mentors when you were younger that helped you a little bit in the creative process, or were you in a situation where you were kind of stifled more than anything else?
I don't think. I mean, obviously, my mom is very creative. She does all these pretty neat decorations and all that, and she would always be doing it. She's doing it more now that she's older than maybe when she was working when I was growing up. But I mean, I could see her as being that mentor that showed me, but I was never shown or teached or be yourself, or I was never shown that. It
was nothing that they pushed on you. Do you think that affected you? I see that you're succeeding now and what you want to do, but did it affect you in a way that it kept you from doing this to a certain degree? What do you think?
I guess it hindered me a little bit more on the on not taking that risk, and till I guess now that we're older, that I'm older, I was able to let's go ahead and take that dive and take that jump.
You think you were ready at this point?
Yeah, I think so.
So when you took the dive, were you thinking, I'm going to open up this brewery, it's going to succeed, and it's going to be awesome? Because it really is an awesome place. I mean, when you go there and see the artwork, because there is literally a ton of artwork all over the place.
Yes.
It's a very creative place. What forced you guys or pushed you guys into that? Could have been just a gray box with a little beer stand in the middle, but that's not what it is.
Yeah. Since day one, since we decided to do this, we wanted to make it more into the arts since day one. In our business plan, you could actually, if you were to read our business plan in the beginning, it was about art, about bringing that artwork that, since we are in Lincoln Park, which is beautiful murals that are done there, we kind of like wanted to feed ourselves from that and branch from that, where we wanted to put that artwork. It happened quicker than I thought that it would happen.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, us, yeah, we did a mural, we did the door, we painted, but I guess the fact that we were always thinking that, and we were always like, this is what needs to happen, it brought people, very creative people, over to us.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was almost like a catalyst for
Yes.
creativity.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So, you know, by us being there, all of a sudden, I meet this guy and says that he wants to open an art gallery in front. I don't know this guy, you know.
Right.
And, you know, it happens to be Tino Ortega, you know, a very, you know, well-known artist in El Paso. And he, by opening the art gallery, brought over, you know, it kind of like brought out other creative people, and then they're like, they liked the space, they liked what we were doing, and they were like, hey, can I design a can? Hey, can I put my artwork on the wall? And that's kind of like, we're just a small part of what the whole movement of what Central Park is you know, South Central is going on right now. So,
Which I think is important because it's kind of an area that's important, but a lot of people don't know how important it is.
yeah.
How important is it for you to allow people to understand what's going on in that community?
Yeah, so that area was very forgotten, right?
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
mean,
100%.
Even though I was like back and forth El Paso, I never knew about that area.
Really?
I never knew about that area. I found out about that area when my wife was like, you know, you got to meet my dad. So she grew up in that area, and we were there to meet him, and I fell in love with it. I did feel like a little sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. You know, it was kind of like what's going on here. But you know, I love that area, and it seemed to be that we were always like kind of like coming back to that area. So when the opportunity was to open a business, that was just like we have to open it in South Central. We have to. A lot of the kind of like what South Central represents is kind of like the Chicano, the you know, Chuco. Culture. So, and that's what Old Sheepdog is. We're trying to make it very El Paso, you know. We've done beers like the Barrio Love series.
Nice.
Which is, we gave love to Southside barrios, such as Segundo Barrio, South Central where we're at, and Lower Valley. So everything on the south side of the freeway, we did that, and that was honestly a very good way to see how people learned about us, and then kind of like learn that we're giving love to people that maybe that a lot of the areas where they live is kind of forgotten. You know?
It is. It absolutely is 100%.
And that's the cool thing about South Central, and the people are super nice. I mean, there's very few people still living there because it's more of an industrial area now.
Right.
But I mean, the few people that are there, they're very grateful of that we're part of that community now.
And that community is growing. I feel like there is a little light or a little fire that's burning there right now. What is coming in the future?
Well, as far as the community goes, I mean, Lincoln Center is opening again. So, which is the Lincoln School that was closed down. You know, that the people from that area fought to keep alive. So they're opening again. I believe in 2024, the whole plan of reopening will be there. They're making art galleries. They're going to make restaurants. They're going to make you know, offices and places for seniors and for veterans and for kids. So that's going to be really, really neat. So that's the big thing. I know by us being there and now the center, all that area is going to grow. Grow and you know, one of the things is that we base off, like, we kind of have an idea of what we want to do is I don't know if you've ever been to Logan Park in San Diego.
You know what? I haven't, but I know that it is very similar to the park
Yes.
that we have here. But over there, there's constantly people all over the
Yeah.
place. Here in El Paso, I feel like it's a lost gem. And I feel that because it's so centrally located and it's underneath the spaghetti bowl,
Right.
which gives you shade almost the whole day, how it's not a bigger thing.
Right.
And I see that you guys, along with Dino, are really trying to push
Yes.
that. As a matter of fact, I think he's doing a fundraiser for like a skate park.
Yeah,
or something
so
like that.
we both got together and we bought blank boards, and then we're giving them out to known artists and unknown artists also. We were just putting it out there, whatever artist wanted to come, they're going to paint on them. We're going to do auction off of those. And then the money that we're collecting, that we're going to present it to the city to allow us to build a skate park.
That's going to be awesome.
Under the spaghetti bowl. There's this little area where used to be tennis courts. Nobody uses them, so we find that will be probably a good.
That's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great. You know, what's funny is my daughter, I took her to go pick up one of the boards.
Oh, nice.
So I thank you as well. I thought it was just Tino that was doing it. I didn't know that you were involved. But that's one of those things that I think is great, to get the lights burning under people. It's like, let's lighten and brighten up their day by doing something different out of the ordinary.
Right.
So one of the other things that I always ask all my guests is, what kind of advice can you give people, whether opening up a business, how important creativity is for them, how important it is for them to broaden their horizons and start to think outside the box?
Right. So I would say, I mean, everybody says just do it, right? But really, it's just do it. You know, just go for it. A lot of you don't want to look back in a couple of years and say like,
I wish I had done that.
What would have happened? You know, and it doesn't have to be a business. It doesn't have, but maybe it could be something real simple, like, you know, picking up and drawing something. You know, just expressing yourself. I think that's something that now I put a lot into my voice. Is express yourself. You know, be yourself. Express. Don't hold anything back. And you know, don't feel that you're not normal because you're doing something different.
You're not just the same as everybody else.
And
I think it's super important for people to understand that concept. One, because I see that a lot of people don't. And two, because you never know where that's going to take you. Just like you. I don't know if you used to brew way before you started doing that,
really.
kind of like on the side, or if it was an interest of yours, but all of a sudden there was that little thing that started, and then it snowballed into what it has become now, which I think is a very, very impressive thing to do, to have this little thing. Maybe you just enjoyed a beer or two once in a while, and then you said, well, what if I try doing this? And now you have a business that does that. How has that changed your life?
It changes tremendously. I mean, it went from being your, you know, I would say your traditional. You know, I had the dogs, I had the kids, I had the big house and all that, and you know, we both had good jobs, and now, even though it's totally different now we've downsized our house. We still have the dogs and the kids. But
you didn't downsize those?
I didn't downsize that. But it's changed it to a positive where now we feel free. We don't feel like, I mean, everybody wants to work for themselves, right? And so it feels that freedom and you know, able to make your own decisions without having to ask somebody else. And
do you think it's something that will inspire your children?
I hope so, man. I hope so. I mean, one of them is already being very creative with his music. So he's become into a musician. The other one is, I'm amazed of the type of artwork that he's doing now. So he's just started painting a few months ago, and he's painting like amazing stuff already. And he's very creative as far as like editing videos and all that. So
oh wow.
Yeah, and I was I guess one of the main reasons why also we could be successful in the business is because of them too.
Why?
Because they keep us young and they keep us relevant. You know, they tell us stuff that is up to date. You know, what's relevant right now, and you know, out there in the social media world and
Yeah,
different
that's
areas.
exactly right. Because social media, I'm sure, is one way that you can get the word out, right? How
Yeah,
are you doing that? Do you have a Facebook page? How
Yeah,
do
that's a
people
big
get a hold
part.
of you?
We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have TikTok. So those are the ways that people could reach us.
Are you guys always like sending new things out, for example, like on Twitter and whatnot?
Yes. So the posts that are both on IG and Facebook, of course, they share each other, and then my wife takes care of the Twitter part where she's just tweeting the like any
Like an event that you're sponsoring somebody or whatever, times and whatnot. So where are you located exactly? Give us the address.
3900 Rosa.
And what exactly do you guys do? Is it only a brewery?
It's only a brewery, but when you go there, there is a food truck outside, totally separate from us, that you could get food from. Again, you could go to the art gallery right up front of us, the glass blowers and the retail store above us. So it's like when there's an event, it's like a little Disneyland, we call it, right? Where people are just walking around, and we get that constant, wow, doesn't feel like El Paso. It doesn't feel like El Paso.
I think that's one of the beautiful things is that you're doing something so, far out in left field, yet it allows us to grow as individuals because I feel when people go and see your place, they're inspired. How can you not be inspired by seeing all of the artwork, seeing what you're doing, seeing how you're doing it in a different way from what we generally see? Like, I can go to a bar downtown or I can go to a bar over by UTEP, but it'll be kind of the same bar that I can go next door and then next door and next door, which is completely different from what you're doing. You're in a very kind of industrial area. People get down into the nitty gritty and get excited about being there.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard many stories where, I got completely scared. It was our first date there. I didn't know what what his intentions was, but I mean, it's kind of like that,
I love it. I love it. But it always turns out good.
It always turns out good, or it's like we're driving and it's like, what's going on? And then we walk into your place and then this is out there.
Yeah, it's completely different. I feel just so incredibly amazed when I see what you're doing because it is so different. But we're very quickly running out of time.
Oh.
Do you have an Instagram that you can share with the people so they can see what's going on?
It would just be Old Sheepdog Brewery for all platforms. Just Old Sheepdog Brewery, and all platforms have it.
Simple as that, and then they can get a hold of you, contact you, and show up. What are your hours?
We do Wednesday through Sunday. On Wednesday and Thursdays, we do 2 to 10, and then Friday, Saturday, 12 to 12. Sunday, 12 to 8, which the food truck does wonderful brunch, so go Sundays. Those are good days.
All right, we'll go check it out. So I want to thank you for giving us the time, giving us an opportunity to talk to you because you have a very interesting story. Did you have fun?
I had fun. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my story and allowing this platform for creative people. This is awesome, man.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. So I wanted to thank everybody for joining us once again. My name is Miguel Valenzuela, and please join us again in the future because, as always, we have very special guests with a lot of very interesting information. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.